Welcome to the Aquanoob. Today I thought I would talk about feeding the fish and how I do it. So here are the basic fish foods that I'm using. Here we have the tablets for the Corydoras and other bottom fish once I get them. So here's what they call Corydoras wafers. Mostly krill or something of the kind. Smells good, stays pretty long in the water, is relatively buoyant, so it floats a bit before it sinks. And then we have the Pleco tablets. There we go. Everything on the floor, of course. These sink a bit faster, and these are more like green, more vegetables and stuff in them. And then we have the basic foods. Here we have the basic food that I usually actually don't give the fish. It's pretty old and I usually use it to feed my cockroaches. Then we have wafers. These are pretty fun, at least for the tetras. The lemon tetras like it. It takes a while for it to sink, and it's a lot to chew for them, so they really like that. And then lastly I have some dried foods here, so I guess this is different kind of dried insects and other invertebrates, crustaceans and stuff like that, Daphnia. It's well, I guess the fish like it, but at least the tetras have a bit difficulties to find it since it's very buoyant, so they have a tendency to not see it when it's floating on top of the water column. But once they understand what it is, they usually eat it with very good appetite. And then here we have some frozen foods. This is a packet of different frozen foods. I'm not quite 100% sure what there is there. I would guess there are like bloodworms and Daphnia water fleas, crinomids, what's it called? Mosquito larvae, stuff like that. I would say the fish are eating them pretty well. They like most of it, but let's say at least the lemon tetras I've seen are a bit choosy, at least when it comes to the Artemisia, stuff like that. They don't like everything of it. Some of the parts seem to be a bit too hard for them, so they don't eat them. They just eat the good parts and let let's say a big part of the food just fall to the bottom. So I'll have to see in the future what I'm going to keep of this and what not. Now, as for the feeding, for the dry foods I use a 1 milliliter spoon. It's pretty handy to keep that, and it keeps track of how much I give each time. I give one of these foods once a day, and then I throw in some tablets a few times a week at least. And then the frozen foods are also given usually once a day. Now the frozen foods, I also have this it's for tea, for putting your tea leaves in it and then dropping it in the hot water. But I use it to put the frozen bits of food into it, and then I put it under cold water so that I get this pretty handy way to feed the fishes with this. I'll try to show you soon a bit more of it. Yeah, now of course I know that many people just throw in the pieces of frozen food whole in the water, and I've tried it with some of the foods, or most of the foods, frozen foods. Some of them float, and that's nice, but if they go down to the bottom too quickly, the tetras at least don't get them. They're a bit slow, and they don't trust big pieces, big chunks of food quite yet. So I found this to be quite handy in giving them a bit of food at a time. So let's see if I can get the fishes to eat something. We'll put this in here. You see it's nicely there, and wait for it to round a bit so that the smells and stuff like. Okay, and we see what the tetra's like. All right, yeah, that's nice, isn't it? You like that? Let's give you a more. There we go. And it's fun to just follow the fish for a while they're eating. So yeah, thank you for this time, and see you on the next show.